Good morning and welcome to the Stahls TV Morning Show. I'm Courtney.
And I'm Zach, and it's great to be back here with you guys. I've been away for quite a few weeks.
We're glad to have you back.
I really appreciate that. So I'd like to kick off today's show with a little bit of news before we kind of get into what our core content is. There was some big news that happened with Teespring this week. They partnered with a company called Eventbrite. Have you ever bought tickets on Eventbrite? Are you familiar with what that is?
I'm familiar with them, but I've never actually bought tickets.
Okay, well, I have. I've actually organized an event using Eventbrite. What it is, you can go on to eventbrite.com, and if you have any type of event coming up, you can actually sell tickets through that platform. And what Teespring did is they went and partnered with Eventbrite to offer organizers the ability to offer customized shirts.
Okay.
So you can have an event-specific shirt, not worry about any of the decoration. Teespring does all that for you. So it's a pretty exciting partnership. It just happened this past week. And I'm just kind of excited to see what it looks like when it actually goes live on the website.
Yeah, I think it's a really neat concept. It kind of shows the opportunity that all decorators have of pairing with companies like Eventbrite or just other organizations, even if it's a small group in your area that does maybe events or tournaments or something, and being able to get in on the ground floor and allow them to offer products through your company.
Yeah, it's also what I think to be quite a creative partnership. Not necessarily that you wouldn't put T-shirts at a particular event, because that is one of the large sales opportunities that we have, but to be able to pre-sell T-shirts for your event online utilizing the technology that's available out there, it's just a pretty creative thing that I believe they got done pretty quickly, because Teespring is a young company. Eventbrite's been around for probably close to a decade now, I think, but very creative partnership and really challenging kind of to us as Stahls TV to continue creating those types of partnerships that are creative and great for our viewer base.
Yeah, pretty cool idea there. Good,
so what's our show about today?
Well, the show today, since you weren't here last week, Josh and I talked a lot about blank apparel wholesalers, and what we found is there's just so many things to share as far as where you can buy blanks and different styles, so we never really dove into an important market, which is bags. So we want to talk a lot today about bags specifically, where to source them, how to print them, and just things to consider with the opportunity, because there's a pretty big opportunity for printing bags. We have a lot of customers that do it. We have whole businesses that have been built on personalizing and customizing bags for a variety of markets, and so we want to talk a lot about that today.
Yeah, I know a lot of those companies, at least the ones that I'm familiar with that kind of specialize in bags, live in that promotional market space to where they're decorating for a specific event or for a specific company to give away that product.
Right.
What are some of the reasons that people kind of focus on a bag? Like, what's the value of a bag versus a T-shirt?
Well, I think with bags specifically, the reason, and we stated this before in the ASI study, but the reason that a lot of people go towards bags is because they're just really usable and really user-friendly, so you're more likely to, if something's more usable, you're more likely to keep it. So while I love T-shirts, and obviously a lot of people wear them, a bag's a little bit more unique and something you can take everywhere with you. You can take it to the beach, you can take it to a work event, anything like that, so it really just leads to the functionality of the item.
Yeah, now I know as far as like the market goes as to who uses a bag, I read a study recently from the sporting goods world, and maybe it kind of ties to it, that Adidas and Under Armour and Nike and companies like that are really focusing on the women's market as where most of the growth is. Is it the same with bags? Yeah,
we're seeing that a lot with promotional items and bags. Traditionally, women are likely to wear bags or carry purses or something more than the male market. And the ASI study actually found that 57% females are more likely to own a bag than men, so 57% to 42%. So it still trends towards that way. I think we're seeing a lot in the gift market with personalization on women's bags as well.
Okay, so when we're talking about a bag, we're not necessarily saying like a purse, even though women obviously would carry a purse more often than men would.
Right,
but
yeah.
What types of bags are we talking about, or what's out there in the market that exists?
You know, there's a lot of different styles of bags, which is why we see them both for males and females and why the market is so large. Obviously, there's sling bags, there's backpacks, there's laptop bags like we have here for personalizing for corporate wear, there's neoprene bags, there's cinch bags, there's duffel bags for sports, and so there's a lot of markets you can reach depending on the bag style that you're purchasing.
So when you're looking, at least maybe you personally, when you're looking for a bag style, is it something that's functional, like to where you would own multiple things or multiple bag items for multiple functions, or is it more fashion oriented? Or
I think you'll find that users will use bags for multiple function and multiple locations. So somebody may have their backpack that they take to work with them or to school. They may have their laptop bag. They may have a sports bag. And so one user really could use multiple bags depending on what they do in their day-to-day life, whether it's work, maybe go to the gym, maybe go out. So they have different personalized options there.
Now, I feel you're an expert on this topic because you normally are walking into the office with at least 3 bags.
I have 4. Most days,
4
yeah.
bags. So you have your work bag, you have your multiple lunch bags.
Yeah, I have a lunch
right?
bag, I have a work bag, I have a gym bag, and I have a purse. So I have 4 bags every day I bring to work with me.
And I'm not sure if any are decorated. We might have to work on that.
I do have a couple decorated, yeah.
Okay.
And so it lends to a really big market, obviously. If everybody carried 4 bags, that's a pretty big sales opportunity.
That is a pretty big sales opportunity. How much does a bag sell for?
It depends on the style. Obviously, a canvas tote bag is going to sell for much less than maybe a high-end laptop bag or a book bag. Brands also are some things to consider. So later in the episode, we'll talk about where to source blanks.
Okay.
Sourcing something that's just a Port Authority from Sanmar regular book bag versus a OGO or a Nike book bag, obviously adding that brand's going to command a higher selling price.
Gotcha. And I know we've showed you a few videos from our partners at Sanmar, and I think we have one specific to bags as well.
Yeah, I think we'll show that to the audience. Basically, what it's going to do is explain just kind of the construction of bags when you're considering what to purchase for your audience. So we'll share that video out now.
Bags can be a very easy way to increase sales. But what's really important to understand is the strength and how to determine the strength of that bag. That is called denier. Denier is a unit of weight that measures the fineness of the thread, either silk, poly, or nylon. Keep in mind, the higher the denier number, the stronger the fiber. Inside here, where there's not a lot of weight requirements, this is probably a lighter weight denier, maybe 600D. But on the outside of the bag and on the bottom, where most of the strength is necessary, we're probably looking at about a 1680 denier. It's important for you to understand these numbers so that you can make sure that you choose the right bag for the right usage. And that will make your customers happy.
So thanks to Holly for sharing that out. That's some pretty good tips as far as understanding the construction of the bag and how it relates to the market that you're printing for, because you're going to want to have a higher, more durable bag for something that may be outdoors, or maybe something that's going to be a laptop bag versus something that's going to be not as usable or as reusable, maybe as a polypropylene tote bag, or just something that's going to be worn for maybe a wedding or an event.
Yeah, I know the polypropylene bags really kind of took off or hit the market, at least in the promotional industry, probably about 7 years ago at this point, maybe 7 to 10 years ago. And it was a real challenge to decorate them because they're extremely, and still continue to be extremely, heat sensitive.
Right.
So finding a solution for being able to decorate that, whether it's a screen print decoration or a heat printing decoration, was a difficult thing to find 7 to 10 years ago. But things have changed.
Yeah,
since
absolutely. And that kind of leads into one other key consideration when you're starting to print these bags. Obviously, we've talked about a lot of markets, but there's so many bag styles that are out there as far as fabric type and construction and everything that goes into them. And so I think for me, the first thing to consider when you start printing bags is understanding what fabric you're actually printing. A cotton canvas is pretty easy to print because anything that sticks to cotton will apply to it. And so when you look at something like this cotton sling bag that we have here that works really well for a women's market, this works good for something like the glitter flake, which sticks to any cotton or polyester base. And so that gives a nice option for something to that nature. But when we look more at polyesters, there are some other things to consider. I like this style, and particularly I like this sling bag, which is a unique style from Sanmar for kind of a unique sports bag or even a book bag, but just thinking about the different placement areas that you can place on a bag. So when I look at this, naturally your eyes go to these 2 spots for print areas, but don't miss the opportunity once you get something that sticks to it to print some unique locations like we've done here, add more personalization, maybe a name or a number or a school or something to that effect. And then one big consideration that we look at is just the ability to print nylon. And so nylon is always something that comes up into the performance market or in the bag market as far as how to print them and getting something to stick to it. And so you're going to want to pick something with a nylon adhesive. There's a lot of heat transfers that stick to nylon bags, which make them perfect for being able to personalize them or decorate them. This one we used a Gorilla Grip material, which actually has a really strong adhesive, but CAD-Cut Thermo Grip would also work for nylons. And then one last consideration that we're seeing a lot right now in bags and in tablet cases and things like that for laptops is neoprene.
Yeah.
And neoprene has some challenges as well.
Yeah, very similar to non-woven polypropylene. You can experience some serious scorching on these bags if you don't have the right transfer. So the one with the lowest temperature that is going to work for your application is really the way to go. So if you have an application range of, let's say, 275 to 325, definitely be on that under 300 range, if at all possible, to avoid that scorching. Now I noticed some of the construction of these is probably, this isn't necessarily going to fit on my 16 by 20 heat press.
Correct.
So how do we address that?
Yeah, so you know, there are a lot of challenges with printing bags, which is why so many decorators try to stay away from bags that aren't the standard like tote bag with a cotton canvas mixture. And it's not just the construction, but when you start to look at even what we've looked at so far with buckles and seams, this laptop bag can traditionally be very challenging. There's buckles, there's zippers. We have another really great example of a really nice high-end Eddie Bauer bag, but this could be a nightmare to decorate with a lot of plastic, zippers, buttons, seams. There's just so much to this bag, so where do you really think about adding the personalization? And so what we often recommend decorators do is try to isolate the area that they're printing. And so when I open this bag up, I now have a complete pocket where I can either thread this on to my heat press using an interchangeable platen or a pillow or something that's going to lift this print area up. Thank you for my pillow there. So this would be a heat printing pillow. But now I could lay something like this in here, or even using a smaller platen like a 4x4 or a 6x10 and isolate that print area. So now when you heat press, a lot of the bulk or the seams or things that you were worried about getting into the way would be out of the way.
Okay, so when blank apparel suppliers, which is what you guys talked about, I believe you said on the last show, and you didn't really get to bags, because when we hear the word apparel, my mind doesn't immediately go to bags. However, it's an extremely large part of the business of a lot of suppliers. So when they're designing bags or offering bags on their website, that I assume is a consideration that they would make. Do they give you recommended print areas?
You know, they don't often give recommended print areas. I think that's something where I would look at that as a decorator. What I would recommend doing is sourcing a few styles of bags that you know work well and offering those to your customers instead of just going and constantly changing out. So if I know of a particular backpack in a laptop bag that have a nice flat print area that I can always get a good print on and I don't have to worry about a lot of issues, then I obviously would source those specific styles for my markets.
Okay. Where are some places that our viewers can source those types of bags?
I actually have a few of them pulled up here on my computer if you want to switch over to my screen to kind of walk through. And last week we talked about some of the wholesale blank suppliers that offer a little bit of everything, and they're kind of your main suppliers, so naturally they'll have a lot of different styles from different brands. I have S&S Activewear pulled up here. But you'll see a variety of styles they have, from cooler bags to tote bags to cinch bags, duffel bags, and they offer a lot of different brands. So you're seeing some Puma, some Liberty bags, you'll see some from MB Sport, and just a variety of styles. And you'll notice also that they have some high-end bags like the Oakley bag that we see here, but also some more inexpensive ones like a value bag, so you can get a price point that fits the customer and the market that you're going after, because obviously that's a big consideration when you're choosing bags as well. What can my customer afford? Is this going to be something that's going to be a throwaway bag that's only used for an event, or is it something that's going to be a promotional product item or something for a corporate business where they're going to be reusing these laptop bags or book bags over and over? So S&S Activewear has quite a few. Sanmar also has a wide range of bags, and they follow the same product line. They have their Port Authority and Port and Company, which allow you to get more of a economical priced bag for your customers, and then also having the high end as far as the OGOs and the Nike bags that you can offer more elite brands to those customers that want something high end. So those are a few, and then with promotional products, I like to go towards Leeds World and look at kind of the options they have there. They have a ton of different options for printing bulk bags. So here we're seeing a lot of the non-woven polypropylene, shopper totes, and so if you're looking for more of the event-specific promotional kind of throwaway bags at an inexpensive price, they offer a lot of options there. both decorated and non-decorated, depending on if you have the capabilities to print a ton of them in-house.
Yeah, and the interesting part, and what a lot of our viewers may not know, is that companies like Leeds and a lot of the promotional products companies are primarily printing bags with screen printed heat transfers. They're not screen printing directly to the bag, because just as you need an optional platen for your heat press, you need that for your screen print press as well. And Stahls has a much wider variety of optional platens available for presses than screen print machines do.
Right, and so we find a lot of people really go towards the heat press for printing them, because even now we just launched the 4x4 small platen, which is, it goes into pretty much any little small pocket area. The other day I printed a cinch bag with a really narrow piping down the front, and I was able to get it a flat print area and a good print just by using that small 4x4 platen.
Okay, so a lot of what we try to do here at the Stahls TV Morning Show is provide our viewers with inspiration. So where can we go for inspiration on decorating bags to just kind of get ideas of what's on trend? Who are some of the leading companies out there for inspiration?
You know, there's a lot of them. I even tend to go towards Etsy and Pinterest if I'm looking for a personalized gift bag market, maybe for weddings or for just gift giving and adding monograms to bags. I look a lot there for inspiration. And then I think a lot of decorators can go and look towards promotional companies and places that sell bags at like the PPAI, ASI show. And then another large one that sells a lot of bags is 31 Gifts, and they're kind of on top of trends as far as what styles of bags they can print and different style options on the bags, and they're really trendy.
Yeah, I'm familiar a little bit with 31 Gifts because of their sales model. They have kind of extended throughout the United States, and a lot of people represent them. So they're, for those of you not familiar with 31 Gifts, they're a direct sales model, which is set up like, to understand what direct sales is, it's basically home parties. So it's Avon, Tupperware, those kind of people paved the way in direct sales, and 31 took that route. So you, as a consultant, can go into somebody's home, you can present this line of bags via catalog and also some samples in hand, actually like we did today. And what 31 specializes in is personalization. And they really take, I'm sure functionality plays a role in it, but they really take the fashion forward mode and try and make everything look really nice. So monogramming being huge, 31 specializes in that. I think, can you pull up their website here?
Yeah.
Quickly, and we can just take a look at some of the samples. All right, so here we're at 31's homepage. This is 31gifts.com. So I would recommend coming here for some inspiration, because these guys really do lead the way. You can see across the top, you can become a consultant and host a party, but at the end of the day, we're coming here to shop the catalog and really understand what is happening in the market and what people are buying. They're really on top of those types of things. And you can see the pricing for these bags here. You have some inexpensive ones at that $12 or $25 range, which is a small case. And then you also have the higher end totes, $78, $68, $34. So really high end stuff with some trendy looks. So we see lots of patterns on the bags themselves. And then we also see personalization on top of it. Not necessarily a color coordination at all, but just getting personalization on there is adding a lot of value and kind of drive sales for 31 Gifts. They decorate almost exclusively, from what I'm aware of, they decorate almost exclusively using direct embroidery currently, but they have, I think they've started to offer some foils, some heat transfer foils, and also some glitter options as well.
Yeah, and I think, you know, embroidery does make a lot of sense for a lot of decorators that personalize with names and monogramming. But one challenge, as you've noticed, and we're seeing a lot more in the market, is where people are wanting that glitter, that foil, that bling finish. And it's a little bit more challenging with embroidery. Of course, you can take a metallic thread, but it's still not going to give you that screen print foil look that is so trendy right now in apparel. So heat printing makes a good option for still being able to do the monograms and the prints with personalization and those finishes.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was great to be back on the show today.
We're glad to have you back.
Do we know what's happening next week yet?
We do. We have an exciting episode next week as well, as usual.
Of course.
But what we're going to do is we're going to talk a lot about another niche market that's really needs to be capitalized on by a lot of decorators, but it's the pet market. And so we had some questions from last week's wholesale. My dog may come in, and so I just want to prepare for that.
Okay, appreciate that.
I'm just
Heads
kidding.
up.
But we actually are going to talk about where to source blanks for pet markets, different design ideas, ways to sell them, and how to kind of add that into your business if that's an area that you want to grow to.
I don't know that it will be a great episode, but it certainly sounds interesting.
It will be fun.
Okay, sounds great. Well, we appreciate you joining us today, and we hope to see you next week. I'm Zach.
I'm Courtney.
And this was the Stahls TV Morning Show.